Buenos dias. Thank you all for joining us today. Breakfast will be served momentarily, so please start making your way to your seats. Galeo's Power Breakfast will begin soon.
Good morning. I know we're all having a great time talking to each other. Our program will be beginning shortly, so please start taking your seats. Thank you for joining us for Galeo's annual Power Breakfast. I'm Alan Soto, Treasurer and Board Member of Galeo.
Good morning y gracias por acompañarnos hoy. My name is Elisa Covarrubias and I'm the Deputy Director here at Galeo and Galeo Impact Fund.
We are excited to announce that DeKalb County Commissioner Ted Terry is our presenting sponsor for all of our events this year. I hope that we will see you at our next event on October 11th for our Hispanic Heritage Month luncheon and our Latino Leaders Summit in the fall.
The work that Galeo is doing, that we're supporting through my office and our partnership, is truly profound. It's very impactful. One thing I'll just highlight that we worked on last year and that we will continue to work on this year are issues surrounding very local issues, environmental issues, issues of equity and justice. And one thing in particular in DeKalb is related to our airport. We have the Peachtree DeKalb Airport. It is the second most busiest airport in Georgia. A little behind at Hartsfield, but nonetheless, if you live near the airport, which a lot of people do actually, a lot of people live near the airport up there off Beaufort Highway, you are aware that you live near an airport, whether it's noise pollution, air pollution, traffic, future development. And so we have been working with Galeo to ensure that the residents who live around the airport, all of the residents, particularly the ones who may not come to the public meeting where everything is in English, or the schedules might be so busy that attending something during the day just isn't possible. And so we have been directly outreaching with all of the residents at apartments, homes around Beaufort Highway, the airport, to engage them on the future of what their airport would look like. And we hope that as potential development opportunities come to the airport, that we embed community benefits agreements and the vision for what the community wants in the long term. So welcome everyone this morning. We look forward to working with all of you. Thank you, Jerry, for everything that you're doing here. I look forward to continuing to support not just these events, but the programming, the advocacy, the mentorship, the leadership training that Galeo does every single day, year in and year out. Thank you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Terry, for your commitment to Galeo and the Latino community.
The work of Galeo could not happen without sponsors and individuals like you. I hope you will join Commissioner Terry and become a supporter of Galeo. We have over 300 members who have shown that they are committed to the work Galeo is doing in the Latino community. Membership is open to everyone. Looking at all of you.
In 2023, Galeo was busy. The Galeo Institute for Leadership now has almost 900 alumni. And with the upcoming 2024 cohort, that is a record 40 members strong, we know we'll be at 1,000 in no time.
I think that's quite an achievement, so shout out to our leadership team who's been doing an amazing job with that. Also last year, we registered over 650 voters and spoke to almost 5,000 voters at their doors about local elections. And this year, our new Director of Advocacy and Policy, Kyle Gomez-Lina-Weber, spent over 325 hours at the Capitol, representing you and Latinos throughout Georgia. All of this work would not be possible without sponsors like you.
It's a pleasure and a privilege, honestly, to be speaking to you on this beautiful morning. Huge shout out to Zoo Atlanta. I'm a proud first generation Latino here. First in my family to go to university here in this country. It's an amazing honor. I feel organizations like Galeo are essential for people like me, right? People like us. I think that young professionals especially need organizations like Galeo and their leadership training to empower our younger folks to be able to come and do the kinds of things that need to be done, to be in the rooms that they need to be in, right? And how that happened for me was while I was in law school, I needed a little extra money, and Galeo was hiring canvassers. So that was my first kind of interaction with Galeo. I came in, ended up really liking it. Being with the organization, doing work with them really helped kind of form my political perspective. It really helped kind of my political awakening, right? Because prior to that, I was mostly focused on finding success in the academic arena, things like that. It wasn't until I, took the leap with Galeo that I started to kind of be more in tune with my community and its political needs, right? And the leadership program, GIL, of which I am a graduate of the 2021 cohort, was just thank you, Adelina. was just an extension of that, right? So that program, it helps empower individuals in our communities with the skills, with the tools that they need to go and take back to their communities to make the changes that we all want to see, right? I ran for office last year for city council in a city called Morrow. What I did there, the reason I did that was for a few things. Morrow is 35% Vietnamese and 25% Hispanic Latino, right? One of the big issues in our community is that the ballots and a lot of the materials produced by the city are not available in other languages. They're only in English. I ended up running for office. We actually did end up getting that done in 2025. Because of the pressure we put on the city council in Morrow, they will be having ballots in both Spanish and Vietnamese. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Story seldom told is soon forgotten. So I wanted to start my remarks off this morning telling a quick story about Luz Daisy, a bright-eyed Colombian with big dreams who immigrated to the United States in the early 1980s. Like most immigrants, Luz came to this country full of ambition, determined to make a better life for herself. Like most immigrants, she came determined to make a better life for herself and came to a foreign place, and her foreign place was Western Kentucky University. Imagine Western Kentucky, Bowling Green, Kentucky, specifically in the early 1980s. Very foreign, but she met other immigrant students who shared a common experience of feeling homesick, looking past the occasional weird looks whenever she opened her mouth and spoke with her thick Colombian accent. And in 1990, Luz and her family moved to Georgia. Her husband had secured a job with the Department of Transportation, making $13,000 a year, well below what his talent demanded. While it didn't pay much, it was one of the few jobs that provided health care coverage for the boys, one of the many sacrifices they would have to make to survive. For 40 plus years, she enriched countless lives of those she crossed paths with and communities she served. She did so much for so many, and I'm forever grateful. Why, you may ask? Because I'm her son. The realization of a dream forged a long time ago in Bogota, Colombia. A son who went off to study public policy at Duke and then get his master's at Harvard, who served our country in the United States Peace Corps in the Philippines, and then returned home to Atlanta to serve as a director at the city's Workforce Development Agency. I currently serve, as was mentioned earlier, as the executive director of Next Generation Men and Women, leveling the playing field for Atlanta youth by providing exposure to college and career options, mentorship and support. And I have the honor of being the first ever Afro-Latino elected to the Georgia House of Representatives. So you see, a story seldom told is soon forgotten. Stories color in the many barriers and hardships that Latinos and New Americans face when they come to this country. There is no American story without the Latino story. There's no Georgia story without the Latino story. In a state with well over 1 million Latinos, there are literally hundreds of thousands of stories playing out each and every day. Stories of hard work, sacrifice, faith, success. These are stories that need to be told. That's why organizations like Galeo are so important. It's so special, it truly is, to have an organization, full-fledged organization, phenomenal, talented staff members, whose sole mission is to reach out, listen, support and mobilize Latinos throughout Georgia, to build power to make their lives better for themselves and for their families. It's not easy to show up consistently again and again, especially not when you need something or when it's election time, but well in advance, well ahead of that. To truly understand a person's lived experience, to build strong relationships, and effectively organize within the Latino community. A growing Latino community at that while unique is not a monolith. And so our stories, the stories that we tell, they connect us. They motivate us. They help color in what matters most. But there's not a single day that goes by down at the Capitol that I'm not thinking about my mom, Luz Daisy. Our experiences, our struggles, our sacrifices, and our success. And how I now have the great responsibility of increasing opportunity, freedom, and making life better for the hundreds of thousands of Luzes and Bills throughout the state of Georgia. We have to tell our stories. We have to get out in our communities and engage Latinos of all ages, backgrounds, and orientations, and then make room for them at the table to help us build power to create a world that honors our stories and helps our collective dreams come true. You know, growing up, my mom, Mama Luz, would always tell me that la única forma de perder poder es pensando que nunca lo has tenido. The only way you give up your power is by thinking you don't have any. The only way you give up your power is by thinking you don't have any. So continue to show up and listen. Continue to pull others into the work and tell our story in churches and in schools, in rooms like this morning, and in rooms of power in front of people of consequence. Thank you, Jerry, Lisa, the board, the entire Galeo staff for all that you do, and thank each and every one of you for all that you will do. Let's go make Mama Luz proud and go tell our stories. Gracias. Thank you.
Buenos dias. It is a great honor and pleasure to be up here and greet you all this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is my pleasure to welcome each of you to Galeo's 2024 Power Breakfast. Our staff, volunteers, and organizers have all worked hard to get us all together and to celebrate the power of Georgia's Latino community. I would like to personally thank each of our sponsors who helped make this event happen. Additionally, I would like to recognize the board members who are in attendance. Can the board members of both Galeo and the Galeo Impact Fund please stand up and be recognized? Thank you for continuing to have the trust and faith in me in leading our organizations. And I cannot continue without celebrating and recognizing the Galeo and Galeo Impact Fund staff members for elevating and working with our community for being present. We thank you for all your hard work throughout the entire state of Georgia. Please stand and be recognized. Phil, I want to thank you as well. Where'd you go? There he is. Phil, I want to thank you as well for sharing your story. And you're absolutely right. We do need to tell our stories more because that's how we change hearts and minds. And that's how we make progress in this country and in Georgia. And that's how we've always done it as a community. So thank you for reminding us of that. Thank you for sharing your beautiful story with us. It's an honor to be here to hear it. Thank you, Phil. As you all know, my work and efforts in our community would not be possible without the ongoing love and support from my husband, Ray. Please join me in thanking him as well for his support for me. Lastly, I also want to thank all of the event staff that is supporting us today. Thank you all for your great work. Galeo is an organization that is used to getting into good trouble, as Congressman John Lewis used to remind us often. We know the power of the Latino community that already exists, and we grow and cultivate that power to flex our muscles when necessary. There is still more to do, and we continue our work towards achieving greater respect and understanding of the Latino community. Last year, I asked for your help for a first of its kind Latino survey, Puente para la Gente. Thank you for everyone who participated and supported our efforts. We will continue to conduct these surveys of our community so that we can represent the views of the Latino community to our elected officials and policymakers. In 2023's survey, we found that the top concerns for Latinos in Georgia are the economy, inflation, making sure we can increase wages, better jobs, protecting immigrants, and access to affordable health care. Overwhelmingly, across gender, income, nationality, Latinos even strongly believed in ensuring access to abortion for those who need it, taking action on climate change, and ensuring greater gun control efforts to protect our communities. Given our values as Latinos, the stakes are higher this election cycle than ever before. It may sound cliche, but when we hear rhetoric of mass deportations and denying children born in the United States U.S. citizenship if their parents are undocumented, then we truly have to see and better understand where all candidates align or misalign with our values of protecting immigrants. That makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uneasy. And that concern should align with a commitment to get every eligible person to register to vote and all voters to turn out to vote. And this provides me with hope. because it is something that we can do about the reality that we're facing today. Right now, Latino voters are over 400,000 strong in Georgia, and we are poised to hold the keys to the White House in this election cycle again. Let me repeat that one more time, because we need to understand that and own that. We need to know our power. We can't let go of that power. Latinos in Georgia are poised to hold the keys to the White House in this election cycle once again. Latino voters in Georgia are consistently outperforming the national Latino voter participation rates. And we've expanded our work from 4 counties to 10 counties to ensure that we can continue that upward trend of engagement. This also provides me with hope. In fact, I voted yesterday, and that'll serve as a reminder that early voting has already started. Many elected positions will be decided by the May primary elections. So you can't let this one pass. There's a lot of elected officials and candidates that are needing your vote, and a lot of great candidates that are out there. And election day is May 21st. This year's Galeo Institute for Leadership class is one of the largest we've had, with 40 members. Staff normally says, we have about 20 to 25 that we select for each of the cohorts. But staff said, no, we can make this happen. So I want to thank our leadership team for making that happen and making sure that we can help 40 members of the current cohort go through the leadership program. So thank you, leadership team. And not only is this class one of the largest, but they are also very impressive, with elected officials, boards presidents, students, and leaders within the community. I'm so proud to see this class and can only imagine the great things that they will accomplish. They also give me hope. In the fall, we will host our annual Latino Leaders Summit, and I hope you all will join us in continuing your own leadership journey, either by attending or by sponsoring the event. Often, when I think about the graduates of our leadership program, I find myself thinking about the trajectory of my friend and Galeo co-founder, Pedro Marin. Before 2003, there had never been a Latino legislator in our state. However, that year, Pedro Marin, Sam Samarripa, and David Casas broke that barrier, marking a moment in history for our community. Representative Pedro Marin's presence ensured that the Latino community in Georgia was represented inside the Gold Dome for more than 2 decades. Now, during this election cycle, more than 30 Latinos are running for office at nearly every level of government in Georgia. Representative Marin, every Latino elected official in Georgia stands on your strong shoulders. That is your legacy. Thank you for your service. Please stand so we can give him a round of applause. This year, we worked hard against anti-immigrant legislative initiatives that were proposed by the Georgia legislature, and there were many. Despite those efforts, Galeo joined a broad coalition to speak out against HB 1105, to stand up for both Latinos and immigrants. Unfortunately, Governor Kemp signed HB 1105 into law on Wednesday. Now, despite the fear and confusion within our community, we will work with our coalition partners to educate and inform our community about their rights and how that harm can be mitigated. That's our responsibility to do. We have been here before, we've seen dark times before, and we will survive this challenge once again. Not just by resilience, but by flexing our muscles. There are more than 400,000 registered Latino voters in Georgia. We have the power to decide who will be in the White House. In a state where local elections can be decided by a handful of votes, and statewide elections increasingly by a few thousand votes, that means we, as Latino voters, we have real, tangible power. We will not be silenced, and our power will be felt this election cycle. So I want to invite you all to stand up. Everybody stand up. Participatory part of the morning. Everybody's seen some of those muscle competitions where they're flexing and showing off their muscles, right? Pick your best one in your mind, and now I want you to do it. Come on, join me. Join me, everybody. Come on, please. All right, I see you, Beto. I see you, Beto. Those are good muscles. Please sit down. I wanted everybody to do that because part of realizing something is acting it out too, right? And when you act out and you demonstrate your power, we do as a community need to flex our muscles this election cycle. None of this with, yes, we've made tremendous progress in Georgia where Latinos are participating above the national Latino participation rates, but that's not enough. That is not enough. We need to flex our muscles and make sure that everyone that is eligible is registered, that everyone that is registered to vote goes out to vote this election cycle. So we need to ensure that we do everything we can to collectively flex our electoral strength to continue to build a better Georgia and nation that honors and respects our contributions. Su voto es su voz. Thank you for coming today, and thank you for your continued support. Mil gracias a todos.